Brand archetypes are the key to developing a message that turns strangers into paying clients by making your business stand out from the crowd. In this video, I'm going to do an in-depth breakdown of how top brands use brand archetypes in their messaging. So don't go anywhere. Hi, I'm Jennifer Kem. You can call me Jen. I'm the founder of the Master Brand Institute, and here we guide entrepreneurs through the process of building a unique message, then putting it into a marketing structure to turn complete strangers into raving clients. I upload a new video every Friday, so be sure to hit that subscribe button below and then click the bell icon so you're notified when new content is available. Now, on to today's video. So, you want to know and communicate what makes your business unique to attract more clients, right? Well, it's a good thing you're watching this video. This is the second video in the Brand Archetype series. And while you can totally jump in here, it'll be more useful if you started at the beginning. So click up here to watch the first video in this series. Now, in this video, I'm going to do a deep dive into global brands and how they use brand archetypes in their marketing. This is going to be packed with valuable content on how global leaders use their brand archetype to market their business. While you don't have to have a global corporation, what they do tells consumers how to respond to what you do. I'll say that again. What globally recognized brands do directly impact how your clients buy from you. This means the better you understand how they market, the easier it'll be for you to win new clients. So let's hop in. Now, from the last lesson, and if you didn't watch that, make sure you watch that before you continue into this one. There are only 4 things that make your brand unique from anyone else who does what you do. Your values, which we covered in the mindset building block, your brand archetype influence mix, or your aim, which we're covering right now, and your stories, which are your tests, and your use cases, which are your frameworks, which we're going to be covering as well in the messaging building block. Now, as a reminder, there are 12 master brand archetypes: the Maverick, the Ruler, the Alchemist, the Creator, Sage, Provocateur, Explorer, Healer, Hero, Muse, Advocate, and Lover. And as another reminder, your archetype influence mix is comprised of your top 3 archetypes: your primary, your secondary, your tertiary, also called your dominant, intrinsic, and intuitive archetypes, of which the dominant voice is the most important one for you to master. But the other 2 do play a very important role in giving depth and meaning to your brand language. I also went over in the last module how my specific brand, the Master Brand Institute, is a ruler, explorer, lover brand. And I also went over how I use them in the last lesson. So make sure again to go check that out if you didn't go there, so that you can see how I'm specifically using it. And remember, when you learn how to do this effectively, you will have basically a 360-degree way of speaking a common language across all of your messaging platforms. Your speaking, your video, your live streaming, your email, your social media, your sales pages, books or ebooks that you may publish, right? These all allow you to reach, impact, convert, and persuade your audience. So now what I want to do is show you how to use your intrinsic and intuitive archetypes with your dominant archetype. Because it's easy for me to, if I were to go and dive deeper against all of those intrinsic and intuitive things, it would miss the point that I'm making, that the dominant is more important. So what I really wanted to show you were some case studies by dominant archetype and how their secondary and tertiary archetypes support their messaging, okay? So that's the purpose of what I'm going to do in the rest of this lesson, is to really demonstrate in real life how the copywriting comes through. So if you are a Maverick dominant, I use Jack Daniel's advertising as an example. They are a whiskey maker, and their intrinsic and intuitive archetypes are the advocate and hero. And here's, you can see that their ads teach an important lesson in language and tone. Jack's copy goes against the grain, giving up the stripped down attention-grabbing style we're taught to use, and instead taking a slow, languid, southern inflected tone and long text, which speaks to the origins of their brand. For example, if you look at one of their ads, it shows an older man with a guitar and says, when folks joke that William Grogan should keep his day job, he doesn't mind because his day job is making whiskey. You can almost hear the southern accent as you read it. One ad has the line, the source of more than a few good stories, which emphasizes the fact that drinking whiskey together produces good times and good memories. This means, back to here, is like they talked about basically like one of their employees and sitting around a table. That's very advocate language. It's like the every person's whiskey, right? Also, it says at the bottom of its ads, please drink responsibly, much obliged. What other brand would use the antiquated phrase, much obliged? Now, what Jack Daniel's is doing is speaking directly to its audience. It's also hearkening to an image of a time and place that's indelibly associated with the taste of its products. It's also a brand that masterfully creates a story with each ad and its copy. I mean, even their opt-in, when you go to their website to make sure that you're a right age of like being influenced by what they do, it says Jack's birth date has always been a mystery. Hopefully yours isn't. You have to enter your birth date to get into the site, which shows that they care about everyone. But it also speaks to the allure of the Maverick and this mystical hero named Jack Daniel's. Okay. Here's an example of a ruler brand, Microsoft. And this is an actual screenshot of an advertisement that they had on their website during Christmas or the holidays. I mean, it literally says gifts that rule. So rulers like to own it all, and their copy reflects that, as well as the way they approach laying out the value for their products and services. So in Microsoft's case, even though recently it's taken a more playful route to their advertising, it's still a ruler at its core in the way it displays and describes its offerings. It is supported with the hero and advocate intrinsic and intuitive archetypes. So you'll notice in their advertising that they dominate both software and hardware, as well as gaming with Xbox, and now going into accessories like Fitbit. And the language on the site is no nonsense, which is very ruler. It's basically Microsoft has everything, so why would you go anywhere else? So it says one bundle for your digital life and gifts that rule, and enjoy the best apps on all of your Windows devices. Every section of the Microsoft website speaks to their all-knowing experience and trusted brand name. And there's no doubt in their copy when describing the quality and value of their products and services. And how do they use the hero and the advocate? Well, basically they're saying, basically anything you buy from us, there's something for everyone, so you can go one place to shop idea, because they're in the hardware, software, and gaming business, right? One thing they have over Apple in that way is Apple doesn't have a gaming device, okay? And the advocate, as opposed to the ruler, because they're two polar opposites, the advocate in them is like, basically it's approachable, everyone can afford it, everybody can be a part of the Microsoft product suite. Here's the Alchemist dominant brand, Dyson, which is supported by the hero and the muse. Now, Dyson takes a very literal slant to its copywriting. Everything is about solving problems through innovative inventions and takes rapid action to do so, which is a very Alchemist dominant thing to do. They say, like everyone, we get frustrated by products that don't work properly. As design engineers, we do something about it. We're all about invention and improvement. From the inspiration of the idea to the first prototype that was sold in Japan, to the funding of what is now today the Dyson, the copy is clean, to the point, and very results oriented. And they even have a nonprofit where they help other innovators to think differently, make mistakes, and invent. So if you just go to their vacuum section on their website, you won't find a more modern way to describe how cleaning with Dyson will transform your life. And all of this copy supports the higher price point of the Alchemist brand. And that's not a literal thing, but generally speaking, you'll notice that Alchemist brands are usually premium products. Now, it's supported by Hero and Muse because the hero piece is, how could a vacuum actually get better wow, right? You've just solved my problem. I don't have to buy 50 different vacuums, because nobody would have thought a vacuum could really be better than the last one you bought. But Dyson changed the game, and that's very heroic. And then the Muse piece of it is that they let people see a vision bigger than a vacuum. Like, what are the parts of owning a Dyson that make you feel nostalgic about, thinking back to, your mom or your dad using a vacuum in your home? They actually hearken upon those memories, and then they innovate it with the Alchemist lead. The next is the creator, using Etsy as the model here, and they are supported by Advocate and Alchemist. So Etsy.com is the destination for makers and creators to sell their handmade things and for people looking to purchase from them. And both sides of the site where you purchase and the side where you sell, are very much in the creator archetype voice. So on the buyer side, discover items you can't find anywhere else. And on the seller side, millions of shoppers can't wait to see what you have in store. So using quotes from actual creators builds social proof and spotlights their greatest asset, the sellers on their site. In their About section, they're very clear who they are and who they serve. The heart and soul of Etsy is our global community. That's very Advocate for them to say. The creative entrepreneurs who use Etsy to sell what they make or curate, the shoppers looking for things they can't find anywhere else, the manufacturers who partner with Etsy sellers to help them grow, and the Etsy employees who maintain and nurture our marketplace. So that's very Advocate. And the Alchemist side of it is that their platform makes it easy for all of them to magically work together to create something epic. Now the Sage, I'm using the Economist as a model, supported by the Provocateur and Maverick, which is an interesting mix, okay? If you go to The Economist, they are so good at creating ads and copy that narrowly targets its highly intelligent readership. The ads flatter the reader and tell the reader what they should think about themselves. For example, it says, a poster should contain no more than 8 words, which is the maximum the average reader can take at a single glance. This, however, is for Economist readers, or 63% percentage of business magazine readers who had lemonade stands as children, 80% percentage of Economist readers who opened adjacent ice cube stands. And not all expanding substances are illegal. Like Jack Daniels ads, these are not quick and to the point. They make you think a little, which goes against the common knowledge of copywriting, which says you should beat the customer over the head. So even if you, like, this is a swipe out of their website. It says, The Economist explains, subject topical and timeless, profound and peculiar, explained with The Economist trademark clarity and brevity. So this is like your alternative to reading CNN or Gallup polls or whatever. It's not boring sage information. It's witty and it's provocative, okay? But this is because they really understand their audience. And it's okay with talking over most people's heads, because the people for whom its ads are confusing are not its readers. The next is the Provocateur. And I think Geico is one of the best brands at using this dominant archetype, supported by the Advocate and Sage, which is a very polarizing support mechanism, but it makes so much sense. Because Geico sets the standard for making an industry that's boring, insurance, into a playful, provocative brand, with the company spokesperson being a gecko. Their online and offline advertising is filled with excellent copywriting that's clear and clever at the same time. Its copywriting is humorous and speaks the language of its users. And they're not afraid of controversy. In fact, their ads with the "so simple a caveman can do it" caused an uproar, but in alignment with their archetype to shock and amuse. Their website is kept simple on purpose. After all, they want to make people save 15% or more on their car insurance. But the gecko, a reminder that puts a smile on visitors' faces, is always present. And because of their approach, Progressive and The General, both insurance companies, followed suit. This brand clearly knows people watch them for their humor, so much so they even created a special hidden page on their website, geico.com/best of, that highlights their best advertising based on customers' feedback. And by the way, if you're a Provocateur dominant brand or you have Provocateur in your mix, that's a good page to study for ideas in your copywriting and advertising your expert services, because insurance is expert services, okay? Like, even look at this ad. It says, presenting a straightforward and serious take about the nation's third largest car insurance company from a spokesman who's not wearing any pants. I mean, classic. And how does the advocate and sage come into play? It comes into play because it speaks to the everyday person who knows that getting insurance is something they need, but it's not something they get excited about. So that's why they also have to back it up with facts and with a solid platform that works for everyone. The next archetype is the explorer. I'm highlighting Huckberry here, which is a very boutique brand, and it's supported by Muse and Alchemist as its intrinsic and intuitive archetypes. It's an online retailer that sells a wide variety of goods, including clothing, accessories, interior goods, grooming products, bags, and household goods, but aims to be like the online version of a funky old general store. And its target audience is very narrow. If you read its website, it says, we're a team of writers, designers, and above all else, doers. We live and work in the heart of San Francisco, but try to get out of the city as much as possible to hit the surf at Ocean Beach, ski the Sierras, and hike the Marin Headlands. The products on our site are culled from all over the world to suit the diverse interests of our team and can often be found in the bed of our trucks, keeping us warm and dry on our bike ride to the office and on our not so tidy desks. This is definitely an explorer language, but what does the Muse and Alchemist have to do with it? Well, the Muse part of it is nostalgia, hearkening to times that matter, whether it's the beach, or they talk about like the places they go and how nostalgic and memorable that is. And then the Alchemist piece is like all simply put in one website where you can get everything you need if you're like us, okay? So the brand clearly knows that its uniqueness and narrow targeting is its strength. So even in their email copy, they write, we endeavor to be the most interesting small email in your inbox each week. The next profile for you is the healer. So if you're a dominant healer, I've chosen Allstate, and advocate and sage support it. Now, Allstate is a competitor to Geico, and you can see the stark differences in the way that they market their brand to the same audience, okay? They have the perfect tagline for a healer, epitomizing caring, supporting, and nurturing. It's you're in good hands with Allstate. And many of their call to actions are about just, being for you, which is a hallmark of a healer. So they write, having a dedicated agent can make all the difference. And it also emphasizes its corporate responsibility by backing the charity Purple Purse, right? So basically, and it has everything to do stop painful experience in healing women and families. So this is not done without thought. They are choosing even what causes to represent what their brand cares about, which is very healer. So the actions asked to be done by the consumer are very direct yet not in your face. And the writing is focused on showing the consumer how Allstate takes care of them. The word helping is prevalent all over the Allstate site, which are words a healer lives by. And the advocate and sage part of it that's why it has the same intrinsic and intuitive website archetypes like Geico does. It's just that the dominant changes the voice. This side by side, I hope you can see the difference in why the dominant matters so much, because it really sets them apart for the audience to choose which one most aligns with their values. The next is hero, which I chose Snickers. I love Snickers. And it's backed up by the Provocateur and Muse. And at first glance, you might think Snickers is either a Provocateur or Maverick brand. But if you look closer at their copy and how it makes people feel, it's all about Snickers saving the day. And that's what heroes do. All of their advertisements, although entertaining, is all about preventing disaster by eating a Snickers. And they choose characters who speak this copy in all of their marketing impressions. The Mars company that owns the Snickers brand is also clear in their advertising copy that they're here to tell all and reveal all about how their brands impact consumers. And this is a very hero copy move because it creates trust through transparency. Because, hey, if you're going to consume candy, we're going to tell you all about it, and then you choose. So if you're a hero archetype, you use copy and characters to the max. You're very good at using a character in your business and showcase how consumers can live in their shoes as a hero. So let's move on to the Muse with the Method brand. And it's supported by the creator and advocate. Now, the Method brand of cleaners has one of the most obvious Muse archetype copy out there. They're not only warm yet funny, youthful yet reputable, and cheeky yet effective, they're clear and to the point. When you visit their site, they tell you to shop Method for products that clean like heck and smell like heaven. Notice the purposeful use of a word that's not exactly the opposite of heaven. It wouldn't be on brand for them to do so. So, because Muse is childlike and innocent, they purposely used heck instead of the word hell, okay? And their tagline, it's time to clean happy. They also have a tab that says Beyond the Bottle, where they tell you who they are and what they stand for, and include lines like what we do, from responsible ingredient sourcing and cutting edge green chemistry to recycled and recyclable packaging. It's all good. Who we are, we are people against dirty. Together, we're committed to making the planet and ours a cleaner place. And in business to change business, Method believes in using the power of our business to create positive and social environmental change. The next archetype is the advocate. And here the model is Dropbox, supported by the hero and Alchemist. One of the bylines of Dropbox is your stuff anywhere. These three words tell you everything the service is about. They emphasize the huge benefit to you that you can access whatever you need anywhere you are. And a look at Dropbox's About page shows that the company's copywriters stripped down their copy until there's nothing but the bare essentials. It reads, put your stuff in Dropbox and get to it from your computers, phones, or tablets. Edit docs, automatically add photos, and show off videos from anywhere. They don't even bother to write out the whole word documents because they want to have more of a casual conversation with everyday people. They also got a lot of acclaim for the simplicity of their homepage. It's a little bit different now, but it's very advocate to be this clean and easy to use. And if you watched the video, it explained the benefits of the service, but it's designed for only one thing, and that is for you to download Dropbox onto your desktop, okay? Which is, again, very advocate and backed up by Hero and Alchemist. Next is the Lover, and the model here is W Hotels. And it's backed up by the Alchemist and Ruler. And if you just go to their website, it is such a Lover, Alchemist, Ruler brand. It epitomizes its Lover archetypes in the luxurious, intimate way they describe their locations, their accommodations, and their taste-making authority. Phrases like sweet it up because you love to live it up that match up with the aesthetics that they use are all about living a life of pleasure and adventure. They use fashionable words and phrases. And in the W Insider section, they profile the experiences and writing of various travel bloggers, which is a great way to showcase loving on their insider community. So these are some examples of how they write their copy. And if you look at their graphic design too, it looks beautiful, which lovers are into aesthetics big time. Alchemist, but it's still simple and clean, even though it's bold, and Ruler in its establishment that it's a luxury and premier brand. So I hope by showcasing these dominant examples and telling you how the intrinsic and intuitive support them, you actually see why they are the salt and pepper to your dominant archetype. Because when you flavor your dominant archetype with your intrinsic and intuitive archetypes, your messaging becomes more full-bodied and magnetic, and people start to recognize your voice as yours. Now that you understand the power of creating a message based on your archetype influence mix, what do you do with this information? Well, the first step is to uncover your dominant brand archetype, and I can help you with that. I've created a psychological assessment to identify the archetype mix you most naturally embody. And this assessment is a certified diagnostic of human behavior that's been tested, vetted, and approved by one of the top collegiate schools of psychology in the United States. I say all that to make one point. This is not a creepy BuzzFeed quiz you take when you're bored. Here are a few important notes before you take the quiz. First, this assessment's going to take about 30 minutes. Like I said, it's actually a real diagnostic on human behavior and what drives you as a founder. Second, you want to be of sober mind when taking it. You don't want to be under the influence of anything because it will skew the results of your test. Third, answer the questions based on where you currently are in your life and business, not where you want to be. This one's really, really important. And finally, you'll receive your dominant archetype report for free when you complete this assessment. However, the only way to receive your intrinsic and intuitive archetypes is to pay $97 after you complete the assessment. You don't have to get them, but like the brands we just went through, why settle for unique when you can be incredibly unique? With all that context out of the way, use the link below to uncover your brand archetype. And that's it. If you found value in this content, please hit the thumbs up button below so we can get this video in front of more entrepreneurs who want to help marketing their business. And be sure to also hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you're notified when new content is released. I'm Jen Kem, here to help you get seen, heard, and paid for the unique value you bring into the world. Until next time.